Hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Good morning. The morning show. Grab your cup of coffee, get yourself in a zen-like mode if you're going to work. Get ready to start your day. A lot of people wake up in the morning and they complain about having to go to work, but that's why it's called work, because it's not fun. It's time for you to get up and go out there and conquer something for the day. Interesting conversation. Does money matter in your relationship? Is it the end all be all in relationships? Is money the deciding factor in relationships? When I say the deciding factor, I mean by who holds the power, who is the decider when you make the money. A lot of times this can be, I think, very different depending on who is the person that makes the money. A lot of times I've seen women who are in relationships with men, they don't make enough money, and the woman says she wants a man who makes just as much money as her. She's tired of supporting another person, which means that she is tired of someone depending on her when he should be at or above her level. And I understand that, and I think there's a lot of truth. I think there's nothing wrong with that particular statement. However, if you are taking care of someone and you're with a man of lower station and you have the authority and or responsibility to support him and his continual need to be cared for, and then you make a decision not to support him, then if you find yourself later in that situation where the inverse happens, do you now change the rules of engagement because you are now the person with the lower income? I say this because the problem with leadership is that everyone wants the authority, the ability to make a call, but no one wants the responsibility that goes along with that leadership. Everyone loves to make the call that decides the winning game. That was me. But leadership requires much more forethought, much more deep thought, and much more proactive thinking. The difference in forethought and proactive thinking, at least in my description, is that a lot of people are making reactive decisions. And when people make reactive decisions, you're responding to the stimuli hitting you first. When you're making a proactive decision, you are anticipating the stimuli and you make your move first. Make your decision first. And then the stimuli reacts to your decision. That's one of the components of being proactive. The forethought is being able to have that sight, being able to walk steps out much further than one can see the steps actually happening. A lot of times, people do not have foresight. They could be proactive. You could have half of the mix and still think you're good. These are the tenets of what it is to raise a family. We are all here because we either belonged to a constructive or a destructive family. They also call them broken families. Your family was one that was either not held by one person being the leader and giving you instruction, and you can see you did not have structure. If you look at the word instruction and structure, that struct is all, it's in there. It's built into one because, again, you need a solid foundation. And a lot of people aspire to want structure. However, when they are placed under structure, they buck, which means the leadership has a responsibility too as well. A lot of men or people in charge or in power misunderstand that people bucking at leadership is a process of leading. Jesus had disciples and still they bucked, they denied. Our government has citizens, and still they dissent or object. They vote against things. They vote against leadership. They are critical of leadership. However, people don't like when the leaders are critical of them, which is the responsibility of having someone in leadership positions, is that they're going to critique you. You're going to be critiqued. You're going to be critiqued on your followership. And it is your responsibility to improve upon points that leadership points out. In the same way that a coach points out issues with his players, whether that be personally, emotionally, physically. They tell them if they're too small, if they're too big, if they need to lose weight. You have personal trainers which do the same thing, but again, the people in power have the responsibility of being critical. Their critique matters just as much as your critique of their leadership. The two go hand in hand. But it is not the responsibility of the follower to create the outcomes. That is the leadership's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the follower to get to the outcomes the leader is trying to create. Because again, you'll ask a follower, well, what's their idea? They only have suggestions. They only have critiques. They only have this doesn't work, that doesn't work. But again, they have no plan. They're not creating anything. What they're doing is creating off of you. And that means that they have to accept the role that they are in, the followership role, and they have to respond to your authority. And I've said this before, when a person becomes non-respondent or despondent to authority, they have become their own deity. A lot of people cannot be told anything. You talk about fathers in the home, things like that. A lot of people cannot be told anything because they are their own deity, meaning that even God cannot correct them. They have no higher power they respond to other than themselves. They themselves have become their own God. If your children do not respond to your leadership, whether you're a single mom, single father, where those exist, or two parents themselves, your child will not be reached by the teachers, will not be reached by the police, they will not be able to reach by their employers. No one will be able to correct them to make them more productive because they themselves have decided that they are going to never take instruction. And again, I would ask you, are these people constructive or are they destructive in life? Does their life reflect the financial decisions that go along with their attitude? Are these people that they help give opportunities to others? Do they provide ways or means of living or incomes, or provide certain incomes or supplemental incomes for others in their environment? Do people look to them for leadership at all? Or do they just look for them for friendship or fellowship and that's it? And again, how deep does that friendship go? Because a lot of times I see these people are very shallow in life. You ask them about what's going on in the world, they have no idea. They have no idea that the economy that you're fighting against is directly related to the foreign items that cost more. They don't understand that that cost is coming from other countries that are no longer or trying to get away from the petrodollar, the dollar, that is. They think that their job secures them a lifestyle that is always ever changing, and the mountain that lifestyle that they want is a peak that keeps on increasing. It is only when they are faced with the reality of hardships do they finally understand what you have been shielding or fighting for this whole time. But it's easier to complain about a house that you rent rather than a house that you have to fix. It's easier to complain about or get something fixed when you have maintenance there and you don't have the responsibility. I live in an apartment. It's great. I live in a luxury apartment. It's great because you call maintenance, next day they come, boom, bam, it's fixed. You don't have to fix anything. But when you have your own house that you're responsible for, you're not renting it, there's no maintenance crews, and something breaks, it'll stay broken until you fix it. And if you don't know how to fix it, guess what you got to do? You got that right. You got to pay for it. So understand that you either going to take responsibility or you're going to have someone that can be responsible that you can follow. But you can't do both. You can't decide today I want to follow and tomorrow I want to be followed. It doesn't work that way. When leadership changes from hand to hand every single day, it shows instability, which means it tells everyone else they do or don't have to listen to you depending on the day. Because today you're not in charge, right? Think about it. Again, you either will take instruction or you will lead yourself to destruction, folks. You could take instruction by getting my book on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirty, Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. Written by yours truly. The link is in the description below. Click the link, go and buy the book, and learn about some levels of instructing on how to invest in vacant land. I'm your host, Phillip Davis. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you've been educated, enlightened, and entertained. Stay tuned, folks. Remember, go to AncestryLands.com. Own property or you'll be owned as property. Phillip Davis, and I'm out. Peace.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Phillip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.